They survived New York once. This time, it wants them back. Let's recap everything from The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2. The story continues with New York Groove playing as men collect dead walkers and bring them to a church, where they are dumped into vats that produce methane to power Radio City Hall. Maggie teaches Herschel how to hunt, while Ginny follows them. Later, Maggie notices Herschel staring at his missing toe, and recalls how he used to catch lightning bugs, sharing a brief, happy moment together. Military trucks from New Babylon arrive with Charlie Bird, Pearlie Armstrong. Bird speaks about restoring New York and drafting soldiers for a mission to Manhattan. A man who tried to escape the draft is publicly hanged as a warning. Benjamin Pierce praises New York, but Herschel laughs and draws the ruined city he knows, worrying Maggie. Maggie confronts Armstrong about lying over Negan's death. He admits he did it to protect Negan and reveals Maggie has been drafted because New Babylon needs Manhattan's methane supply. She agrees to return only if nobody else is forced to join. Meanwhile, Negan is imprisoned and spends a peaceful moment with Victor before the Croat arrives, asking about Herschel. Learning he is safe with Maggie, the Croat decides to escalate things. The Croat brings Negan to Dama, who wants him to unite New York's factions against New Babylon. Negan refuses until Dama reveals she has captured his wife and child. Forced to obey, back at New Babylon, Maggie is forced to fight walkers to prove herself. Ginny joins her despite Maggie's protests, and together they survive, saving everyone else from being drafted. At Dama's meeting, Christos refuses to join the alliance. The Croat gives Negan his new Lucille, and Negan knocks Christos unconscious with its electric power. Unable to stop Ginny from joining the mission, Herschel decides to return to New York, but Maggie refuses. They argue about Negan and New York before Maggie asks who Dama is. Through tears, she tells Herschel she will return, so he doesn't have to. Later, Herschel smiles at his drawings of New York. Meanwhile, Negan spends another quiet moment with Victor, while Charlie Bird discusses New Babylon's mission into Manhattan. Maggie warns Armstrong that arriving by ferry is a terrible plan, and he agrees to help if she provides more than a guess. Negan meets Dama again and suggests making their attack resemble a 4th of July celebration to terrify both sides. At camp, Maggie comforts Ginny before noticing one of the Croat's smoke signals. Herschel arrives on horseback after secretly following them. New Babylon soldiers capture them, and although Maggie warns Bird about the signal, Narva insists on attacking immediately. Armstrong compromises by delaying the attack until nightfall. When Maggie decides to leave, Narva threatens to hang both her and Herschel. Maggie punches her, and they are imprisoned aboard the ferry. As the ferry sails toward Manhattan, the Croats' men prepare their attack. Maggie begs Armstrong to turn the ferry around, but he cannot stop it. As they approach Manhattan, mines explode around them. Ginny frees Maggie and Herschel, while Negan's fireworks-like bombs rain down upon the ferry, killing Charlie Bird and destroying the ship. Negan smiles at his success until he sees Herschel escaping and hesitates before launching the final bomb. The Croat notices everything. Back at the church, Dama celebrates their victory and spares Benjamin Pierce after he claims to recognize her. She asks Negan who he was trying to save. Although Negan lies that he saved a random child, Dama kills Victor by stabbing him in the neck, punishing Negan's disobedience. The survivors flee through Manhattan before Maggie leads them to safety. Herschel apologizes to her, bringing Maggie to tears, while Ginny secretly checks the gun hidden in her backpack. The remaining soldiers begin trusting Maggie as the group enters Central Park. A flashback short reveals Dama once fed Herschel, freed him from his restraints, and slowly gained his trust. During their journey, a walker attacks and kills a woman before Herschel kills it and notices a strange hole in its chest, while a mysterious girl secretly watches him. Meanwhile, the Croat tells Negan he knows he spared the lifeboat because he refuses to hurt children. He promises to deal with the child himself if found. While Maggie and Armstrong discuss finding shelter, hidden walkers suddenly attack, killing several survivors and scattering the group. Ginny loses her backpack, allowing Herschel to find her gun before meeting a mysterious girl who saves him and silently walks away. Later, Negan asks why Dama treats him so cruelly. The Croat explains that she once saved him, believes she brings out people's true potential, and sends Ren with Negan to search Central Park. Unable to find Herschel, Maggie's group escapes the park and meets Roxana and her people. Though upset they brought walkers with them, Roxana agrees to help search for Herschel. Pearlie asks them to join New Babylon, but they refuse, and Maggie tells him to respect their choice. A flashback reveals Dama manipulating Herschel during his captivity, claiming they are alike and that she understands him better than his mother. Herschel's expression shows that being understood is all he wants. The mysterious girl finds Herschel's drawing. Meanwhile, Negan leaves Ren behind during a walker attack in Central Park. Though wounded, Ren later attacks Herschel and the girl before Negan kills him. Herschel shoots at Negan and misses, helps the girl return home. Another flashback reveals Dama freed Herschel and showed him New York's skyline from her theater while sharing her dream of rebuilding the world and asking him to draw its future. Back in the present, Herschel returns Ginny's backpack. Meanwhile, the mysterious girl dies, and her people remove her heart, explaining the strange hole seen in the walker's chest. Negan returns to the Croat and lies about Wren's death and New Babylon's soldiers. The Croat grows suspicious after noticing blood on Negan's hand. Maggie asks Herschel if New York has a hold on him. He says the city is abandoned but can now be rebuilt, much like himself. In another short flashback, Dama warns Herschel that difficult sacrifices await him when he returns home. Bruegel speaks to a chained walker about seeing New York lit up again. Negan, the Croat, Dama, and Benjamin Pierce arrive to recruit him, while Dama quietly threatens Negan by mentioning his family's safety. Bruegel welcomes them into his museum and proudly shows his art collection. The Croat brings up Bruegel's Walker champion, who has won 26 fights. During the match, Benjamin finally realizes Dama is a famous critic from the old world. Embarrassed, she changes the subject to Herschel and reveals she knows Negan tried to save him. Elsewhere, Herschel tells Maggie and Pearlie he saw Negan in Central Park and mentions finding Ginny's gun. New Babylon prepares a small expedition to find Dama's methane facility. Meanwhile, Narva learns Ginny plans to kill Negan and returns her gun, knowing he is her target. Back at the museum, Bruegel agrees to join Dama's alliance, but demands a second methane factory. The Croat loses his temper, so Negan proposes a walker fight, which Bruegel accepts. On a rooftop, Maggie and Herschel remember chasing lightning bugs before Pearlie spots Negan capturing a walker alive. The trio sneaks into the museum, while Negan prepares his walker for battle. Negan secretly meets Maggie and warns her that Dama manipulated Herschel and can no longer be fully trusted. At the same time, Herschel unexpectedly reunites with Dama. Before the walker fight begins, Negan jumps into the cage to distract everyone, allowing Maggie to escape, but she freezes when she sees Dama staring at her. Bruegel's champion wins the fight. Afterward, Negan whispers something to Bruegel, convincing him to join the alliance without conditions. Maggie and Herschel return to the rooftop, but Herschel refuses to explain where he was. Finally, Dama invites Negan to ride home with her, upsetting the Croat. Later, several men break into Radio City Music Hall and shut off the power. Maggie, Pearlie, and Herschel return to Central Park. Maggie tells Herschel that Negan said they should leave New York. Meanwhile, Negan and the Croat report the blackout to Dama. She orders Negan to convince Christos alone while sending the Croat to deal with the power outage. Back in Central Park, Narva arrests Maggie's group. Roxanna is being held until she joins New Babylon, while Pearlie is arrested for treason. Maggie confirms Negan is alive, and Pearlie reveals he is working with the Croat. Narva demands the location of the methane facility before threatening Herschel and revealing her plan to trap Negan and the Croat at the boathouse. Meanwhile, the Croat discovers the blackout was caused by a cut wire. Maggie secretly leaves to meet Negan while he heads to meet Christos. Negan offers Christos methane and asks him to join their side, but Christos refuses. Seeing that he protects innocent children, Negan apologizes for misjudging him. At the same time, Maggie knocks out a guard and attempts to rescue Pearlie and Roxanna. Christos compares the alliance to another rigged game, but Negan warns him that enemies will always come and urges him to fight for lasting peace. Before Negan can convince him, the Croat arrives and releases gas, killing Christos and his men while sparing the women and children. Meanwhile, Narva questions Herschel about Maggie and Negan's relationship. Herschel helps Maggie sneak up on Narva, but she notices at the last moment. Suddenly, Ginny bursts into the room with a gun and takes Herschel hostage. Back on the way to Dama, Negan tells the Croat that he has his back. Elsewhere, Pearlie blames himself for not stopping Maggie. Roxanna tells him to stop fearing endings and trust new beginnings before asking him to make a choice from a sack, just as her uncle's bird once did. Dama angrily confronts the Croat for killing Christos and his men. For the first time, he stands up to her, and she promises to continue their conversation later. Narva gives Roxanna one last chance to join New Babylon before ordering her execution. As Roxanna's people mourn, Maggie is also about to be hanged. However, nearby walkers are attracted by the noise and flood into the park. Ginny saves Maggie just in time. Narva takes Herschel hostage and flees into the walker horde, with Maggie chasing her. Distracted by Maggie, Narva leaves herself exposed and is killed from behind by the walker Roxanna. Later, Herschel finally tells Maggie the truth about Dama's portrait. Although he admits Dama was kind to him and dreamed of rebuilding New York, Maggie promises they are finally going home. Before they can continue talking, Bruegel arrives with his men. Meanwhile, the Croat argues with Dama once again. Their fight becomes physical when Dama bites his hand. He accidentally traps her beneath a fallen object before leaving her behind to burn alive. Bruegel brings New Babylon's survivors to his stronghold. Shortly afterward, one of his guards is attacked. Elsewhere, the Croat tells Negan that Dama is dead and that his family will arrive tomorrow, giving him the choice to stay or leave. Bruegel welcomes Maggie, Herschel, and Pearlie, offering them food, freedom, and Manhattan's methane supply in exchange for helping him kill Negan and the Croat. Although Maggie distrusts him, Pearlie suggests thinking it over. Before dinner ends, the wounded guard dies before revealing what attacked her. The Croat struggles with Dama's death and Negan's possible departure. Negan comforts him and suggests he could leave as well. Pearlie considers Bruegel's offer, but Maggie insists they can obtain the methane themselves. She admits she still struggles with her feelings toward Negan as Ginny quietly walks away. Later, the Croat realizes Negan killed Dama's rat and framed him for it. The two fight, but Negan eventually defeats him and reminds him that he helped make him who he is today. Their fight ends peacefully, and Negan tells the Croat to leave and never return. Meanwhile, Maggie tells Ginny that she is welcome to come home with her and Herschel once everything is over. She admits she sees herself in Ginny, but still cannot forgive herself for her past choices. Negan secretly frees Benjamin Pierce from his hidden cell. The two discuss history, leadership, and Negan's regrets about the way he once ruled his people. That night, Herschel tries to poison New Babylon's water with walker blood, but Maggie stops him. After arguing about New York being his home, they encounter a monstrous creature and become separated while escaping. Maggie later discovers the monster is an infected bear in Bruegel's arena. She releases chained walkers to distract it, but the bear kills them and corners her until Herschel saves her with throwing knives. The bear then accidentally impales itself on the arena's spikes. While searching for Herschel, Maggie meets Negan at Radio City Hall. He reveals Dama is dead, believes Herschel may be heading to King's Francis Theater, and Maggie warns him that Bruegel plans to ambush him. When Negan's wife and child arrive, he orders his men to safely escort them back to Tennessee. Pearlie refuses Bruegel's offer. In response, Bruegel reveals the transformed Lucia Narva, who told him everything before she fully turned. Later, Ginny silently points her pistol at Negan but suddenly collapses from an infected wound. Negan carries her inside and discovers she is seriously ill. Meanwhile, Maggie searches at King's Francis Theater for Herschel. Instead, she finds the Croat, who eventually agrees to help her. Elsewhere, Negan wakes from a nightmare and learns that Ginny is still fighting her infection. While waiting for her recovery, he admits he failed both of his wives despite being given countless second chances. After discovering burn cream among Benjamin's supplies, Negan learns medicine is hidden on the 3rd floor of Bellevue Hospital and immediately heads there. Before leaving, Negan places Benjamin in charge of Ginny and asks why he continues helping him. Meanwhile, the Croat takes Maggie to Herschel's restored room before realizing there may be another place he went. The Croat and Maggie arrive at the safe house as Negan enters Bellevue Hospital and reaches the 3rd floor. Negan refuses to kill a child walker and is knocked unconscious while Maggie becomes exhausted, hallucinates, and passes out while avoiding walkers. Negan wakes and escapes the child walker. Maggie wakes beside the Croat, who compares his relationship with his mother to Maggie and Herschel's before fixing her flashlight. Negan sneaks through a ward filled with infected children while hearing mysterious footsteps above him. Finally, walkers attack Maggie on a bridge between the upper floors, leaving her trapped on cracking glass before she manages to continue onward. Negan finally catches the mysterious thief and is shocked to see Lucille, his first wife. He apologizes for failing her, but she tells him he did everything he could. Moments later, he sees Annie and his son and admits he failed them as well. Following Annie's gaze, he kills a trapped walker and discovers a medical machine. Turning around, he sees Ginny standing there, revealing that he has been experiencing visions born from guilt. When Maggie and the Croat reach the top floor, she learns he lied to her. Holding him at knife point, she demands answers and even hangs him out of a window before pulling him back inside. He finally admits he only brought her there to say goodbye. After briefly considering throwing herself from the building, Maggie is stopped by the Croat, who reveals that his mother abandoned him when he was 12 and that he later found her dead. Before leaving, Maggie notices a light shining from a nearby building. Negan returns with the medical machine and refuses Benjamin's suggestion to flee, deciding to stay and protect Ginny. After saying goodbye to the Croat, Maggie follows the mysterious light and finds Herschel. They apologize to one another, but before Maggie can respond to him, Dama suddenly appears and knocks her unconscious. Meanwhile, Bruegel reveals that Negan has agreed to meet. When Pearlie asks about Ginny, Bruegel admits she came to him willingly because she planned to kill Negan. Pearlie attacks him, but Bruegel escapes and notes that Ginny may prove useful later. Meanwhile, Negan watches over Ginny and tells Benjamin he is free to leave, but Benjamin chooses to stay. Elsewhere, Maggie awakens as Dama's prisoner. Dama threatens Herschel's life and forces Maggie to surrender the keys she secretly stole. Bruegel arrives at Negan's church and offers him a 17th century statue as a gift. Moments later, Negan's people lock the doors and reveal walkers hidden beneath the massive dining table, while surrounding Bruegel's men with burning methane torches. Dama admits she has manipulated Herschel but argues that he represents the future because he never knew the old world. She reveals that she once believed Negan would protect that future, but now believes Maggie may be better suited for the role. When Maggie asks if she wants Negan dead, Dama says Maggie is the only person capable of killing him. Meanwhile, Bruegel's men reveal weapons hidden inside the statue and continue fighting. Bruegel himself uses a methane torch to burn his enemies. Elsewhere, Herschel apologizes for Dama knocking Maggie unconscious. Maggie admits she still cannot move on from Negan despite trying. Herschel says there is only one way for both of them to finally be free. Maggie promises she will do what must be done and return for him. At the same time, Benjamin is taken to inspect the Barazzi's cannons. While on the roof, he notices several boats approaching before an armed man suddenly kills his escort. When questioned, Benjamin lies and claims he belongs to New Babylon. Back at the church, Bruegel discovers Ginny before Pearlie attacks him. Soon after, Negan and his soldiers surround them both. Bruegel desperately offers Negan the methane supply and speaks about the future they could build together. Negan simply forces methane into his mouth and ignites it, burning him alive from the inside. During the chaos, Pearlie escapes and fights Negan. Hidden nearby, Maggie kills Negan's guards before joining the battle, but Maggie suddenly stabs him in the back. Badly wounded, Negan struggles back to Ginny's room. Maggie and Pearlie follow him and discover that Ginny has turned into a walker. Maggie gives Negan her knife, allowing him to mercifully put her down. After reaching safety, Pearlie removes the knife from Negan's back. Negan sadly admits that he was so focused on protecting Ginny that he failed to realize she died alone. Maggie quietly leaves and returns to Herschel. Realizing she spared Negan, Herschel lashes out at her. Maggie explains that killing Negan would only make things worse, but Herschel no longer cares, and promises that he and Dama will achieve their goal regardless. Maggie promises she will never leave New York and will always be there for him, but Herschel walks away. This season ends as Maggie returns to Negan and Pearlie just as they witness New Babylon's second wave marching through New York. Negan declares that they will claim the methane supply. After discussing what comes next, the three agree that the only way forward is to finally face their past together. If you want more recaps like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what series or movie you want to see next.